because with the greatest of respect to Mace, Ryan would have scored a few goals in those 5 games that he was suspended.
Every time I did get the ball, I did know it had to be moved quick, or otherwise I could be back on the sidelines again with injury. So
that's bad, eh?
I didn't sense at any time, the way we prepared for that game, that we were going to be up for that.
Wow.
It depends on whether or not Fab wants to try and pretend he's a coach and go to a box midfield again, or go into a mid-block and go 4-4-2.
I'll say it to them, we're 10 times better. But they're well coached, they have a plan going into games.
They were 10 times better, they would have beat us.
It sort of just opens your eyes to when you've got tunnel vision in your echo chamber, you think everything's all clean and spotless on your side. So,
yeah, and James might actually become a better coach if they win on the weekend.
He's the best coach in the comp. Super team.
I'm surprised Ash's name wasn't brought up. He's self-proclaimed best player in the league when he's on his day.
Yeah,
why don't you guys believe the same?
Well, maybe he hasn't had his day yet.
Here come Workers on! But it's falling here towards Icon!
Oh my word.
To find her teammate in Izzy Grant! And now played and struck and in! People, Ryan Dominici! Further forward now, Tagira!
We're all ready to play, and yeah, we'll go out and smoke it this time.
Well, it's by far and away been our most watched sector of the podcast in 2026. This is quite the rivalry between coaches and players and clubs. Of course, Parklea and Spurs will be competing for that last spot, that last ticket to the PL2 Grand Final. Boys, thanks so much for nearly at 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday for being here to give us some content. Blake Joyner, welcome to the podcast. Great to have you on finally after the most amount of caps at Parklea of anybody sitting here at this table. What a run-in to the final for you guys. I mean, the fact that you guys were able to turn around post that match of the round draw with these guys and get the results that you needed to, and then also that final round, round 18, 2-0 win over St. Pat's, just about creeping into the top 4. Can you describe the emotions of the last month and the run into the season?
I think we've hit form at the right time. Yeah, just had to have a bit of reflection, and we knew what we had to do. We're good enough to be able to be in the top 4 and be in the finals and be in contention for a club championship, which we were up until last few weeks. Had to get it done, really. No other way to put it. Like, we knew we could do it, just had to put it into action. I think we've hit form at the right time.
Yeah, I think so too. Taylor, you know all about sneaking into the finals at the 11th hour, obviously from your time at Workers. You've come here, you said it on the podcast and on live streams earlier throughout the season that you wanted to achieve big things with this team, and here you are on the cusp, on the precipice of doing just that. I want to talk about, of course, the Town Rangers game heading into this one to qualify you for this game, but just another quick word on the run-in on the end of the season. Even just from that second half of the match of the round against these guys, what changed out of the blocks at half-time that day?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I think we were just a bit inconsistent throughout the season. And we kind of got to a point where, like, one of the things I've noticed in PL2 specifically is you can kind of get caught up looking too far ahead. Obviously promotion was something that we really wanted. And I think we just stopped looking 1 week at a time. And it got to a point where we were like, promotion is one thing. Making the top 4 is something that's at a bit of a risk of not happening at the moment. So I think from once the boys kind of locked in and we were like, well, we need to make the top 4 first and foremost, we had no other choice. I mean, by the end of it, it was win and get in. That was really it. So the best thing was that our fate was in our hands, and we were able to make sure of that. But there was a bit of pressure coming in, and so for us, we've been playing finals games for the last 3 or 4 weeks, to be honest. So we're ready to go on Saturday.
James Boyle, welcome back to the podcast as well. Was there any moments in the season, especially in that run-in, where you thought that Oakville were going to pip you to 4th, essentially?
No.
Cool.
Pretty much no.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Great to have you on, obviously, as the first time since in these colours as well. But your last couple of months and even into years have been really torrid post the Player of the Year win. Mm-hmm. Whatever you're willing to reveal, can you sort of take us through what the last couple of years have looked like for you in your recovery and where you're up to now?
It was been pretty difficult, obviously. I guess the biggest issue was obviously coming back too quick. So as you know, I'm quite an explosive player, so do a lot of running. I come back too quick, re-injure myself, come back again, injure myself again, take some time off, come back, injure myself again. So it's just been a lot of injuries here and there, but You know, again, different colours, so different sort of system here. In a way, they can sort of, I guess, treat the injury, make it a bit more manageable. But yeah, it's ready to go and, you know, get back and start kicking.
It's been a long time since you obviously made the switch over to Parklea, but I mean, we never really got to talk about, you know, the player of the year going from one big club to another in the PL2. So can you sort of cast your mind back? What influenced that decision to do so?
I think the biggest influence was, I think the style of football that Parklea had played. I remember when we played them, I think it was another match of the round game. It was just very sort of different in a sense. Even how like the players sort of interacted with each other compared to ours. It was like there was a lot of internal conflict within our own. However, with Parklea, it was a bit more, I guess, sort of a family sort of structure in a sense where, you know, someone made a mistake, they sort of come around each other. With us, you know, you make a mistake, you get yelled at, this, that and that, whatever. But yeah, and apart from that, obviously the boys there, you know, they all, you know, stood for each other. The system there was a lot better again at accommodating my injuries and stuff like that. So it was a no-brainer.
Okay, no-brainer. There you go. I'll get that mic off of you. Thanks very much. Let's bring Fabio Massarola into the action. Let's cast our mind back once again to that match of the round and that first half. In particular, I want to talk about 𝐻𝐚𝐞𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫. I mean, that is a fantastic player. I think he's an all-star in the making, just quietly. That first half, let's start there. One of the best performances, one of the best 45s of the season, perhaps?
It was a pretty good performance. To be fair, Parklea were, I mean, it was pretty even for the first 15 minutes. I don't think we had the better of it. And then it just started to click. We were moving the ball really well, and we scored 2 fantastic goals against Parklea. So the first half performance against them, I think, was pretty. Yeah, it was up there. It was pretty clinical performance.
Adnan, welcome back. Thanks for being on so late as well. The press for the second goal, all these calculated moves in that match of the round, it was so impressive, as Fabs has just mentioned. That day, though, in the second half, it felt like Parklea had a bit more energy than you guys. What's your assessment on that? Why did it sort of turn in the wrong direction?
Yeah, you're right. They came out with more energy. That's kind of what it was. The 2 goals were both my fault. I gave away 2 penalties. They came back with more energy. They had a few good chances, but it's not like we didn't create anything either. If you watch it back, we had about five goals. We should have just scored. Like they were on a plate. We just had no numbers in the box, really. But yeah, I agree. They came up with more energy, especially in those first 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then the crowd behind them as well. It helped them a lot.
Indeed, it does at Morgan Power. Aaron Cruz, welcome to the podcast. Former Parklea player who scored the opening goal in that game. Can you take us through why the mid-season switch happened and what it was like to get on the score sheet that night?
Yeah, there's a lot that could be said. Obviously, out of respect of the manner in which we had conversations, probably not the right environment to discuss that. But yeah, long story short, I've been at Parklea since I was about 7 years old. Took a couple of seasons away, maybe a good part of the last 5 or 10 years ago, and came back 2023, which is the year, unfortunately, we got relegated to PL2. But yeah, long story short, decided to come across to Spurs. They welcomed me with open arms. I had about a day left with our transfer window. They were gracious enough, without having to see me trial or train, to take me on board. And yeah, it was a great feeling scoring against my former club. Very weird, even getting to the ground. And just 2 weeks earlier, I was with these boys and in the dressing room. So it was quite a weird feeling. But I never scored many goals, but I knew from Monday at the start of the week through to Friday I was going to score. I just don't know how. But yeah, it was a great feeling, and yeah, a lot could be said. Give you a soundbite, but out of respect for James and everyone else, probably a lot better not said.
Make a good politician. James, I'll throw to you for one more comment after your very short and sharp answer to the previous one that I asked you. Just the response from you guys in that game. Obviously got the 2 penalties, which someone else has had an opinion on that and why they were given, but I think you showed more in that second half, and I want your opinion on what inspired the change.
The half-time team talk was something where we said we had to go out and show a bit more energy, a bit more passion, and a bit more intensity. We backed off a little bit to allow Spurs to score 2 goals. I mean, Fab did say in the podcast before that he thought he could beat us if we'd scored 2 goals. So we gave him a 2-goal start, and he still couldn't do it. So, but in all honesty, I think we just came out with a bit more fight. We realised that was the game that was going to potentially decide whether or not we were in the top 4. And we knew that with games coming after it that were going to be just as problematic. So we knew we had to do something. And the halftime team talk was, your season depends on the next 45 minutes. They came out, and from there, they've then just went on and went on and went on. So that was a catalyst for it.
No Ryan Hoffsmith, but obviously was incredibly critical in your last regular game of the season, round 18, with a brace against St Pat's to clinch that spot by 2 points. Yeah. So 2 goals in the day, 2-goal win, and 2 points was the difference between yourselves and Oakville in 5th.
Yeah.
Isn't going to end up with his golden boot, largely because he misses that chunk of the season, which ends up being 20% of it. So. Yeah. He's not here right now, but was he disappointed that maybe was the reason why that didn't go his way, the GB, and but also how important has he been in coming back?
No, Ryan's a good player, and Ryan adds a different dimension to the attack that we have. He was frustrated at the fact that the ban that he got cost him the golden boot, because with the greatest respect to Mace, Ryan would have scored a few goals in those 5 games that he was suspended, but that's another story for another time. He just has to go on and show over the next few games that we've got that he can still put them in the back of the net. He'd done it against Pats. There's a little debate as to whether or not he got the second goal. He's claiming a deflection. Hunter French is not. But no, Ryan adds a different dimension. He's a different type of player to this man to my left here in Ibuka. So they work well together, and he's certainly an important player, but we've got a squad of 48 players and they're all important, every single one of them.
Certainly. Fabs, I'm going to throw to you about the game immediately after the match of the round, which is that 3-2 win over Minchinbury Jets, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yep, so you guys, not mathematically, but you essentially stopped the reigning premiers, and I think second place in club championship last year, and also, of course, the grand finalists when it came to it in first grade. You essentially, with that game, stopped them from making top 4. Now, I think it was mathematically confirmed the week after, but took a real big stab out of their real big dagger to their season. And what a response, considering again that first half to second half of the match of the round, and then coming out and doing that 3-2 over them.
Yeah.
Good response, and then the rest of the season was pretty good from there too.
Yeah, look, we earmarked the Minchinbury game, to be totally honest, if we didn't beat Minchinbury, there's a chance we could have missed top 4. There's a good chance. If we didn't beat Rangers in the last round and we didn't beat Minchinbury, we wouldn't be in the 4. So
no, mathematically, no, only 1 point above Parklea.
Yeah, so we hinged everything on that Minchinbury game. And how we got that done, I don't know, because we had 12 players out. So we had 20 players to pick from for 2 squads on that weekend. There's so many players missing because it was a Sunday game. I won't mention some of the players in my team that decided they would go to Melbourne for the weekend to watch the World Cup final and just abandon the team, but they did. We won't mention their names, but yeah. So we were on the bare minimum, and if that game didn't go our way, we could have been in some real trouble.
Didn't realise that you could get Melbourne and New York mixed up as the venue for the World Cup final, but we've learned something.
Yeah, someone actually.
Say the names.
No, we're not going to do that. And then
So for the second podcast
we got
in
an
a row,
imposter.
For the second podcast in a row, Darren Glover has appeared in the boardroom.
Yeah, and then we went into the St Pat's game where we weren't great, but we weren't terrible, and I made it really clear to the boys at half time that we didn't need to win the game, but we couldn't lose the game. Because Mount Druitt has had us on goal difference. So even if we had beaten St Pat's, we still would have had to beat Mount Druitt to grab a top 2 spot. So I just made it absolutely clear at halftime. Doesn't matter. I don't care what happens in this game. Do not lose it, because if we lost it, we mathematically couldn't make top 2. So we got the point that we needed against St Pat's, and that made the equation against Town Rangers exactly the same. We win, we get a second chance. If we lose, we're in the elimination final. So I don't think it really mattered, but I think we showed, and considering we haven't beaten Mount Druitt in 2 years, I think we showed exceptional character to be able to win that game against Mount Druitt.
Captain Adnan,
round.
Sorry to interrupt the last part. Yeah. Captain Adnan, just a quick word on, again, you've seen @𝐻𝐚𝐵 with the opening goal against Town Rangers. You essentially, maybe you laid the blueprint for these guys to play them the week after, but that kid's 18 years old and is really quite good. So just a word on one of your young stars.
Yeah, he's incredible. No disrespect to anyone else in the competition, but I think we have, if not the best, but the 2 best midfielders in the league in 𝐻𝐚𝐿 and 𝐸ntonio. So they're both incredible, and 𝐻𝐚𝐿, he proved it on the day of the match of the round, just how good he is. I mean, go watch the goal again. It's just incredible. And the whole game, the whole first half at least, he was, didn't look like Parklea could handle him. So he's incredible. He's a great player, great to be around as well. A really positive guy, and he's 18 years old.
Blake Joyner, take me through sort of the chronology of your win last week over Town Rangers. How'd the game go? Flow, goals?
We started fast, which I think has been the key for us. We knew that we had to start fast against Rangers because we let them into the game and make it an arm wrestle. That's where they're at their best. They're physical. They like to bully you. Don't let them do it. Play fast, play random. They can't handle that, evidently. Got 2 goals quick. They'll like that. And we were in control for, I'd say, the first hour, and then just small laps, let them back into the game. They snagged a goal, then managed to regather ourselves and just hold firm.
Ibuka, back to the old stomping ground, which is something you've done before. It wasn't your first time back there, since making the transfer over, but what was the reception like for you, and what was it like to be among that place?
Obviously, I think going into that game, I knew there was going to be a target on my back, and it was pretty evident when I did come on from the bench. Every time I did get the ball, I did know it had to be moved quick, or otherwise, I could be back on the sidelines again with injury. So
that's bad, eh?
I had to make sure, if not moving the ball quick, at least be quite clinical with the ball. But look, it was a good game. Obviously, like Blake said, we came in quick and fast. Was able to, catch him on the back foot.
Taylor, how does PL1 final series compare to PL2 so far, from your very small sample size?
Well, finals football is finals football. I mean, it was a competitive game. We're a better team. I knew it going into it. I knew we'd beat them. I said after the first game we played them, like they had the first laugh, but we would have the last laugh, and we beat them 2 on the trot now, and they're not sitting here. So, I mean, that's the most important thing.
They are certainly not sitting here. Right, so let's turn the tide a little bit on the sort of all the smiles. I need to talk about this game up against Prospects, and we can talk about Prospect a little bit here and there. We've plenty of it next week, depending on which one of you guys face them. But is 4-0? Is that a worrying scoreline, knowing that one of you guys are going to have to play them again next week?
I think because it wasn't sudden death. I'm not overly concerned about the 4-0. I mean, there was a lot wrong with that game from the start, like how the players showed up, our attitude before the game, how we did the warm-up.
That's weird in finals football.
Well, it is, and it's someone always says, sometimes, it's not really important, you can just rock up when you want, it's only park football. But I think at times it does make a difference, like how you approach the game and how you go into the game. Like, I didn't sense at any time, the way we prepared for that game, that we were going to be up for that.
Wow.
Right? So,
okay.
And that's just an honest opinion coming from the coach.
𝐻𝐚𝐿, I'll throw to you. They score, this could be wrong on dribble, but it looks like they score right on 45th. So if that's 2-0, obviously 2-0 is much bigger than 1-0. If they score on 2-0, and does it kind of sap the life out of the game a little bit, knowing that you're heading into the sheds when it could have been a 1-goal game, but instead it was a 2?
I suppose so. I mean, you wouldn't believe me if I told you that we probably had 2 of the best chances before they scored their first goal. But to answer your question, I think Fab's on the money. Like, it wasn't a case of us switching motivation or having a lack thereof towards half-time. And after that period, I think just from the get-go, we weren't up for it. We did have the better share of the chances early on, but in terms of our energy and our approach and the way we came into the game, it did seem like we were a bit lethargic. And that's probably why it wouldn't matter if it was first, second, third or fourth goal they put behind us. Our reaction just probably wasn't at the standards of finals football, but we're looking to turn that around this weekend.
And then on one hand, you could look at this and go, okay, we are going to respond, and we were so off of our standards that there's no way it could possibly get worse, and we know that we have to respond because it's Parklea, and again, as Fab's mentioned, now it's sudden death. You could look at it in a positive light, or you could look at it as, how the heck are we in finals football, and we have this incredible opportunity to do something special, and we let an automatic grand final ticket slip, knowing that we've had fitness concerns and we've got very small squad depth heading into the key parts of the season. So how did you come away? How have you come away in the couple of days since looking at it? Are you looking at it like trying to take a positive sting out of it, or are you kind of annoyed at how that game, or at least the approach to the game went?
And before he answers, we deserve to be in finals football.
Yeah. I was going to make a good comment on that. I was going to say, if we don't deserve it, Parklea don't deserve it. They haven't beat us once. 2 years. Anyways. Could beat us this time, but anyways, we'll find out. Point is, what was your question? I wanted to comment on that so bad. Okay, no, I got it. No, you didn't say that, but you asked a rhetorical question. I just wanted to answer anyways. Sure. No. Looking at it, well, you have to look at it positively. If you look at it negatively, you are going to come out the next week with more pessimism, and it's not good, right? You have to be realistic about it. Obviously, approach with a sense of realism. We were not good enough on the day with the way we play football, nor with the way we prepared, like Fab said, and Aaron has mentioned as well. Yeah, just the whole lead up to the game wasn't good enough. And our training, we copped it yesterday, rightfully so. So, yeah, I'm looking at it positively. As you said, it can only get better from here, right? It can't get any worse. And yeah, Aaron's right. We actually had first 20 minutes of the first half, it was our game. First 20 minutes of the second half, also our game. We were really, really good for moments. But yeah, they just took the chances to capitalise, and they were really good as well.
Yeah, thank you for the honesty. James, I'm going to throw to you for this one. They've mentioned the record, so I guess it's time that we discuss it. We're still waiting for Parklea in a first-grade context to beat Parklea Spurs. Obviously, we had that match of the round where we discussed it at length in that rather fun podcast that we did out at their home ground. So, we talked tactics, and you mentioned that you were going to shut down this, and you mentioned that you were going to counteract that in that podcast. But you've got to come and do it now in this knockout game. So how much have you taken from that match of the round and your assessment of how they played and how you played, and what's going to be different this time in your opinion?
It depends on whether or not Fab wants to try and pretend he's a coach and go to a box midfield again, or go into a mid-block and go 4-4-2. It really depends. Look, we took a lot for that game. And Fab and I have known each other for about 15 years, and I don't think I've yet not to be surprised every time he turns up to a football field, because he just comes out with nuggets now and again.
I thought you were going to mention his clothing choices.
No, not at all. But he tries to surprise, and he done it. When he came out with a box midfield, I looked at Mark next to me and I thought, well, that's good. He's read my playbook, and what he does this week, I don't know. I watched part of the game at the weekend against Prospect, and the lads are right. For the first 20 minutes, Prospect were chasing shadows when they moved the ball, but something just didn't sit right, whether it was the field or whether it was the pressure, I don't know. What have I taken from it? To expect the unexpected. We're preparing slightly differently this week. We've got a little bit up our sleeve because we know the importance of this game. My aim is to try and make the first grade team obviously make the finals, reserves are in the finals, and 21s are in the semis as well. So the aim is to try and make 3 finals, but this week, expect the unexpected.
Okay. If we're going to throw to you, because the first time that you came on the podcast was when you were still a Town Ranger, and again, still hot off that Player of the Year win, and it was actually ahead of a Parklea match of the round, and you were very forward that day, and I want to know about, looking back on the way you sort of were that day, and have you sort of thought about it, and has your approach to how you prepare for big games like this especially changed since that time?
I think not necessarily. I think obviously the same sort of energy and fire that I came with that game is going to be the same. I guess the only difference would be, unlike that previous game, I won't be bandaged on both legs. This one I'll come no bandage at all, just be able to play properly. Obviously have the team behind me. Again, we have a very good midfield. Shout out Hosh, especially the last game we played with, I think Hosh only played 45 minutes. The previous game, Hosh wasn't there. Hosh is here for the whole thing, and he's a very good playful midfielder, midfielder. He'll do this and that, and he'll create a lot of chances for us.
Blake, quick one to you, because you've been here the most out of anybody at Parklea. A lot of Parklea players have talked about, and a lot of the new players have talked about, the reason that they have enjoyed this year so much in the last 2 years is because of the standards of training and how much different it has been, and the culture shift in that sense. Can you speak to that as another long-standing member who's been through kind of both of these 2 eras? What's training like, and how has it progressed over the last couple of years, and is it in the right kind of spot now to be in this finals series?
Yeah, definitely in the right spot. Different to when I came back to Parklea. I was similar to Cruzy. I started when I was 7, left for nearly 10 years during my teenage years, played with mates over at Rivo, and then came back same year actually. And we've had 3 coaches since we were back. Leaps and bounds. It's just not anything different, like not reinventing the wheel in any way, but just changing a few things, just doing things in a different look, and it's just like simplifying footy, like just making it easy for ourselves to understand, not overdoing anything, and the boys are buying into it, but like the self-belief is coming within, and we're all united in that, which is good, which has helped with our culture. We've had a good mix of the boys who have been around longer than I have, and some of the blokes who have come in as the years have come since I've been back, like Tay's first year, Buka's second year, a bunch of other lads as well. Just got to have the right balance, and then we've all got the common goal of we want to be better. We know James and Mark are the best, are the coaches for that, and we've all bought in, which has been key.
Maybe not reinventing the wheel, but maybe reinventing the box midfield. Just a quick one. Can you point to an example? Sorry, I'm one for shapes. Can you point to an example where you think that level of understanding of the game and the metrics and tactics and intricacies behind it probably helped you in a game to win, maybe in previous years where you wouldn't have? Can you point to an example right now off the top of your head?
Not anything specific, but just through communication with James or Mark, or just whether it mean group setting or individually, like just simplifying things, going, look, this is why you do this, or even like for standing next to him on the sideline, look, this is why this is happening, and then you see it for yourself, you go, like just the light bulb goes off, like perfect, I can understand that now, and I understand my role, or I know other boys have gone, don't know why I didn't think of things that way, and it's just made everyone just sort of click, everyone knows their role.
Okay. Taylor, I want you to go to that microphone. This is kind of part of the podcast where I want to discuss freely how the other team plays, kind of like I was doing with the coaches before. And I know you're one to keep it very serious, but in all honesty, what parts of Spurs' game can you appreciate from either an aesthetic or an effectiveness standpoint that makes you go, they're very valid competitors and I'm keen to play them and come up against them?
Yeah, they're well coached. They're well coached. Like, quality-wise, I'll say it to them, we're 10 times better. But they're well coached. They have a plan going into games, and they execute well. Like, they were pressing us last time we played them. Hey, we'll see, man. It's funny now, but we got a game to play on Saturday, so we'll see. They were pressing us, and we probably accepted the press. To be honest, like they were attacking in a 3, and they were changing into a 4 when we had the ball, and we didn't adapt to that. We were a bit slow, to be honest, to figure that bit out. And yeah, they got the goals, which obviously kind of changed the way the game kind of flowed and that sort of thing. But they're well coached. They have a few good players, absolutely. But if they don't get sort of the rub of the green in the first 20, 30 minutes, and we can get a goal early, I think the game's put to bed.
10 times better?
It's a wild statement, honestly. Crazy. But not fair enough. Like I said, you got to be confident going into this. So I can't blame them for saying that. But if they were 10 times better, they would have beat us. So fair enough. It's fair. It's a good what do you call it? Good deductions to get from that game. Definitely not 10 times better though.
Are you happy to? Are you happy or maybe proud, or are you okay with maybe saying that the sum of the parts of this Spurs team is better maybe than individual players here and there? Because I don't think there's anything wrong with having a unit that is good as a unit rather than as individuals plonked together.
I think we have great individual players.
I think
we have excellent individual players. Mm-hmm. I think in some parts of the pitch we have better players than they do, and in other parts of the pitch they have better players than we do. Mm-hmm. Right? And then your point stands as well. Yeah, as a unit, we have been better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it's very individual quality is a bit shared amongst us, not them being 10 times better than us. But yeah.
Fabs, the teams even at this point of the season, after 18 rounds and the first round of finals, nearly 20 weeks, are teams still underrating you, perhaps?
I hope so. Because, as Adam said, I think as a collective, we have good players. Like Parklea they've got almost 52 good players. They've got so many good players, right? Right? Maybe 48. But, yeah, so, to Taylor's point, on paper, he could have a point. I think the 10 times is a bit exaggerated. But if you look at individual players and where they've played or where they've come from and stuff like that, they've obviously got exceptional talent, right? And to Adnam's point, I think that some of the players in our squad are probably not as well known, right? No one knows who they are. All right, but if you actually spend time with them and watch them train and watch them play, some of them are exceptional talents. And I think as a collective, we are a good team, and we don't really rely on individuals as such to win us a game. We don't have two strikers like Parklea have that can just score goals for fun, right? We have to really play good football and work for our chances, work for our opportunities to be able to score goals. And yeah, I hope they are, because I've seen this on our day. On our day, we can beat anyone. And I don't want to rub it in, but the 5-2 against Parklea first round and the 5-2 against Oakville, right, just shows that when we want to turn it on, we can. Doesn't mean we're going to win the game on the weekend, right? But no, we can match it with the best.
Cruzy, I'm coming back to you in just one second. I just want to go to the question here. James, do Parklea have a reliance on individuals to win games?
No.
You want to leave it there?
Yeah.
Okay. Cruzy, I'm going to go to you now. Funny, kind of ironic that the question comes to you, but same as I asked Taylor. But what are some of the things that you can appreciate about Parklea's style of football? Perhaps if you want to be cheeky and talk about maybe some of their players, what do you appreciate about your former unit?
I would say one thing, and that's the camaraderie. I think they've touched on in traces. Perhaps because of the culture and how long a lot of the boys have been together, there's an ingrained identity in the club and what they believe, and if things aren't going the right way, they don't switch off. There's a real hunger and a fight, and I think any team, regardless of how good they are tactically, if you've always got that spirit to never stop, it's going to be a challenge for any team, regardless of how equipped you are, what players you have, and what style of football you play. So that's something commendable about them. Haven't been on both sides of the column. We'll address that comment. It's a bit of tongue in cheek, but I can safely say I don't think there's if anything, a lack of quality on Spurs' side. I think the first session I rocked up with training with these guys was quite eye-opening to think when I was at Parklea that there was all these great players, and there still are and there still was, but it sort of just opens your eyes to when you've got tunnel vision, you're in your echo chamber, you think everything's all clean and spotless on your side. So I'm looking forward to this Saturday. A lot could be said, a lot couldn't, but that's what I will say about them. It's quite commendable, their team spirit and camaraderie, and it's hard to gel within 1 year or put tactics behind that. That's something that's been built in a foundation of their club for a while, so all to them on that.
I'm excited too. I'm going to be on the cricket pitch between the two pitches doing head checks like I'm Prime Shabby or something, watching both games. Did you use Aaron and his knowledge of how Parklea play and what they do and some of their individuals to get anything out of the match of the round or potentially up against this weekend?
Absolutely not. we don't really look at it that way, and we don't really prepare that way.
Okay.
The main use of Aaron for that first game was it's his old club, and hopefully we said we're going to start you, and hopefully you'll play good because it's your old club, and it actually paid dividends for us. So yeah, but as far as I don't need Aaron to tell us, like, I know who their players are. Sure, they change shape slightly, but all in all, we know how they play. So, and I don't think really that even knowing exactly how a team plays really helps you on the day. I mean, it's how they execute on the day and how they play, and like the things are changing every second in a football game. So I don't think it makes a great difference. Knowing their shape does help, right? That's a given, right? But other than that, I don't think, and who some of their more dangerous players are. But other than that, I don't think it plays too much of a part.
Okay. Ibuka, just quickly, I'm going to go to you. On the flip side of that sort of same question, where do you think the game is won or lost? It could be a third of the pitch, it could be off of the pitch. Where do you think the game is won or lost against Spurs?
Honestly, I think the game will be lost, in the final third for both myself and the attackers at the front. I feel like if we don't, take our chances, we do know how Spurs can play. They're very, quick with their counter. So, when we do get the opportunity, if we don't execute and basically take those chances, then, it can be in a lot of trouble.
And what about you? Where do you think this game could potentially slip out of your hands or go their way?
Just whoever wants it more on the day. That's what it's going to come down to. Who can come out with the right mentality, play the better football. And your mentality will dictate the football you play.
Fabs, tell me, where is young Hayden? Where is he up to? Because he was injured in midway that match of the round, and he's been used sporadically since. So how is he? Because he's quite critical.
How should I answer this? Hayden won't be playing on the weekend. We'll come straight out. We'll drop Parklea a carrot, and we'll let them know. All right, yeah, they don't have to contend with Hayden on the weekend. If we get past Parklea, he'll make the bench for the grand final. That's where he's at.
Do you reckon there could be some fibbies happening here?
Yes.
Okay.
It's fab. It's fab. I believe half of what he says and nothing of what he hears. It's fab. So, if that's what he says, then fantastic. Before the podcast started, he said that Hayden would be available. So at the end of the day, I don't care who rocks up. It's 11 players that are going to rock up on the field. We'll see what 11 turn up, and we'll combat what they've got to show. And if Fab wants to pull on a jersey, then maybe Fab can pull on a jersey. God knows we'd be better than half the players that he's got in his reserve team.
Oh, okay. On that point, Blake Joyner, a bit spicy. Goodness me. My next question was actually about the benches of both. Now, I would back on a one-off game where it's just first grade v first grade. Where I would actually back the quality of the bench of Parklea, perhaps because there's more to call on. There's some 21s with lightning pace, or there's some Rezzies with some really great experience. But you're in 3 sets of finals games, and you've already mentioned that it's absolutely priority to get all 3 grades there on Sunday playing some grand.
Not priority. It's important.
Okay. But you're heading into this weekend with, relying on reserve graders or people fleshing out first grade who are going to be backing up. These guys, on the other hand, are going to have fresh legs to call on. So, in your opinion, based upon what you know about their squad depth and your own, who's got the more firepower to call upon off of their bench come, let's say, the second half?
Us. Every single player in our squad can play first grade. Next man up. If someone's injured or someone's suspended, next bloke up fits that role and plays it to the same standard. It's happened all year. Ryan was out for however long it was, or Tay was out, next man was up, did the role just as well. If not, at times better. So I'd say us.
Okay. And then do you have a response to that? How is your squad depth looking? What's your injury list like? And how are people feeling, especially those guys that could step up and play?
You can say, this would be a good statement to say, they have 10 times more squad depth than us. That's a fair statement to say. All right? Yeah, I can agree with that, absolutely. Yeah, they do have 10 times more squad depth than yeah, so no, 100%. They have more squad depth than us. Yeah, they have more quality coming off the bench. Simple as that. Oh, well, yeah, we don't. They have 48 players to choose from. We have 32, of which about 10 of them are non-existent half the time, and the 22 that are, some of them may be injured. Blah blah blah. Well, anyways, they have the better squad depth. Absolutely. That's the bottom line. You want to say something?
I was going to say, we don't have any reserve graders on the bench.
Yeah.
So there's only first graders. So the comment about reserve grade just is irrelevant because there's no reserve graders on our first grade bench for this weekend.
Aaron Cruz, let's flip this a little bit. In all seriousness, there's a grand final for one of these two teams to enter in, and that grand final is going to be against a prospect team that have had the number of both of the teams sitting in front of me or to my sides right now. And I kind of feel the same way, and I've asked it the same way of the PL1 boys heading into a grand final against the undefeated premiers in Ponds. The phrase I kind of want to use is I'm not going to say it, but
say it.
I think very much that whoever goes into the grand final goes in firmly as the underdogs, and I think Prospect enter as the favourites, and I think that's rightly so considering their performance. 9-point gap at the top of the league when they got promoted, and they could very much be in 2 grand finals, even 3. So there's a very good chance of that. Are you, obviously you have to get through this weekend first, but are you personally nervous about the chance of coming up against a team that have been the best in the comp by far in a first grade context?
I wouldn't say nervous is the right word, and even if there are like some lingering feelings, it's not something that you would address. I feel, look, on paper we would absolutely, or either team to their credit, whoever gets there next Sunday would be listed as the underdogs. But I know there's a lot of back and forth over who's better, whatnot, but it generally falls down to who's better on the day. And you can have a great season, you can completely floor the whole competition and then stumble at the last hurdle. So I think it means very little form and success prior heading into a final, as much as it does this weekend against these guys. It's probably not the answer you're looking for, but it's very hard to disagree with that and say that based on their form and trajectory through to the final, that gives them the license to make us in any such way intimidated or scared by that prospect, or pardon the pun, but got nothing else to add on that, I guess.
Taylor, I'm going to throw to you. Obviously, we're looking quite far ahead, but prospects and some of their players you've played against in PL1 2 years back, and you'd be aware of obviously some of their players that have come in the last couple of years, particularly at the start of this year. Very regularly, though, PL2 promoted teams don't go on to win the grand final in the first grade context. Very, very regularly. In fact, it happens more often than not that it's a team that don't get promoted that win that first grade grand final. So, obviously, looking a little bit far ahead, maybe too far ahead, but where's your head at when it comes to coming up against a team they've been pretty big, bad and ugly so far this year?
obviously we played them twice through the regular season. I only played once. I mean, both games the goals were moments. Like, we got back into the last game against them 1-1, and then I think it was not even a minute later, half volley fell to, I think it's Mace, and he's put it bottom corner. Like, they have quality players, of course, but every game we've played them has been tight. So I think, honestly, like, there's been a lot of analogies and, very diplomatic answers today. But I think if you ask Prospect, I don't want to speak for them, but they're hoping the guys across the table win on Saturday. They don't want to play us. Yeah, well, obviously, I would hope so, Fabs. But what I will say is, when we win, you're still invited to our KPT after. You're more than welcome. You'll still be there. But I just want to say one more thing, and we can talk facts. I mean, again, I've played Spurs once. It was a draw. So the history is what it is. Past is the past in a sense, right? But they played Spurs 3 times. They've let them concede at least 4 goals every single time, and they've beat them by 4 goals twice. So matchups, styles make games as well. Okay, we haven't beaten them, but none of that matters. If we beat them on Saturday, that first game, the 5-2, the draw, they go home and we go on. And James gets his first win, and we can ride all the narratives you want, and we can go into the Prospect game. And yeah, we'll be underdogs. They'll be underdogs if they beat us. But on the day, we can beat them, and we will beat them.
Yeah, and James might actually become a better coach if they win on the weekend.
He's the best coach in the comp.
There's a part in this podcast where we're going to do some more interaction, which is great, because it definitely hasn't been tension cuttable with a knife, a blunt one at that. Maybe even a spoon could cut it. But it's been great, and I can't wait to watch what happens. We're actually going to do something I didn't prepare any of you guys for, and that's actually start building an all-star team as we head into the pointy part of the season, which obviously has a lot of hype around it. So obviously the All-Stars are the team that plays up against the Spartans at the end of the year, the Spartans 20s specifically in the PL2 context. We are going to throw as many names forward as we possibly like. It can be 4 players from Spurs, or it can be 2 from each, but we have to come to a consensus and agree on 4 players to be pushed into the All-Stars. It can be 3 attackers and a defender. It can be it can be a goalkeeper, but we do have to come to a decision, and the microphone's going to go to one on each end, and you guys can interrupt each other and interject and all that sort of stuff. But I want to pick 4 players to come forward that we can all agree on both sides can be in an all-star squad based upon their performances this season. So we're going to start with Adnan, and then I'll let Blake Joyner respond to whatever he says. Shortlist a player.
Shortlist any player. Well, I'm going to go with our own player, Antonio Bayo. He has to be there, 110%. Watch him play every single game of the season. He is our best player. You do not understand how good this guy is. Like, seriously, he is incredible. Just watch him play.
Yeah, let him have that one. Sure, why not?
Give us a player.
Hunter French.
Okay. Small case for Hunter French?
Just, he's consistent all year round. He's a goer. He 110% every week, and I think he's been one of our most consistent players all year. Yeah.
Baylor, French. Okay, I'll get one of the other Spurs boys to give us a player.
We've definitely mentioned him already, but Yassine. I think we'll all agree, whatever part of the field you're on, or if you watch the game back against you guys, he had a great performance, and just remind he's 18 years old.
Just going to cut that there. Do you want to help out?
Yeah, I'll just I'll nip out, but I'll just say one player, Taylor Redden, best midfielder in the competition by a long shot.
I hope this isn't going to become a Spurs versus Parklea.
No, it's not. But I don't think. I think you're looking at somebody with Division 1 experience that's hitting the peak of his career, that's came in, that's led. Yeah, there's other good midfielders. There's good midfielders in both squads, but Taylor, I could rhyme off half a dozen players from both teams. Adnan's one of the players that you could easily rhyme off as well. The young lad Abu is a good player as well, but from a mid, he's got to be in the starting lineup.
Okay, so we've got Baylor, we've got Hunter French, and we've got Taylor Redden's been listed so far. Can you give us a 4th player?
Can I give you 4 and 5?
We gave you Yassine.
Yassine. So, okay, so we've got 4. Okay, so let's shortlist a couple more.
I'll give you another 2.
We lost James, but hopefully we'll see him on Saturday. I'll give this back to you. Who was your player?
Can I say 3?
Of course you can.
Okay, Hayden Massarola. Watch him play, you'll understand. Sure, he hasn't played the last few, but just watch him play. Stats don't matter in that regard. Mason Mawaz, he is...
Just your two.
Oh, it was a Spurs.
So just our team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
This
okay.
is easy,
Okay,
man.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Liam Watson. Water has to be there. So Hayden and Water.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, so we have like 6 or 7 now. Anyone you want to push forward?
Yeah, probably Brad Hofsmith.
100%.
Yeah, Brad Hofsmith.
Best defender in the league by far. He's 20, 21.
20.
20.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so good. He would ease. I don't know if you need this to hear me, but he easily would walk into a PL1 side. He could probably challenge for an NPL side. Like he's that good. He's so humble. If the kid learnt how to speak during a game, I swear to God, he'd be one of the best players. Like well, he already is in the comp. But yeah, Brad Hofsmith, 100%, 100.
1-2 this year who's surprised a fair few people who've watched PL2. Geordie Cullen. Played 20 minutes for Rezzies for Dooney last year, at best. Barely got any game time. Kami's been one of our more consistent players, and I don't think he even knew how good he was. Because everyone has been so surprised, and a few of us knew he could do it. I'm glad he's finally seeing it, and he's reaping the success and the confidence that he's getting from this year. So I just wanted to... I think he's someone as well.
No one's mentioned Ryan Hofsmith, by the way.
I was going to say Ryan Hofsmith, we've got to put him in.
Yeah.
Best striker in the league.
Like he missed 6 games. That's the same with Hayden. We all like Blake Curry, Hayden, all these guys. They miss games. Like so, you can put in the best team, or you put in the best team, or you're gonna put I don't know. It depends what your criteria is, right? Like
Well, that's what we're here to discuss.
that's yeah. So I mean, we're not picking the actual team at the end of the day. So
You just
you know,
four
if
players.
that's
Okay,
it.
well, we're going to get down to 4.
I think we're just putting a team together to beat Prospect.
Super team.
I'm surprised Ash's name wasn't brought up. He's a self-proclaimed best player in the league when he's on his day.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys believe the same?
Well, maybe he hasn't had his day yet.
Doesn't sound very
That's Ash, bro.
First grade, isn't it? Yeah, Ash only plays 21s. He hasn't played a first grade game. Just about.
He's tried to play some first grade games.
Unfortunately, injuries again haven't allowed him.
He played both times against us.
Well, I wasn't here for the first time, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, like, you know, if we're going to put anyone, Ryan Hofsmith, you know, best striker in the league, 100%.
All right, so we have 12 players. It's now up to you guys to, based on whatever criteria you want, you're going to get down to 4 before we can move on.
Let's be diplomatic and real here. 2 from each.
2
Are we going to go 2 and 2?
Whatever you want.
You guys put
We
your
can't
scene.
just
Your scene's
do
good. He's
2.
18. You can put him. Who's your other? I don't even remember half. Oh, Bilo, best midfielder in the team, right? That's what you said. Best midfielder. So he has to be in.
Yeah, I'll
And we'll put the Hofschmidts, Brad and Ryan.
and I'll leave my son out.
No.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Great. Thanks very much, guys. That's good stuff. Let's see if they end up making it come the end of the season. It's now time for the prediction section of the podcast. So again, I'm going to throw microphones both of your way. You guys can debate about whatever you like, but if you want to just give us a firm scoreline, maybe a couple from each end, that's totally fine. Let's start with Spurs.
7-1 Spurs.
10-0 Parklea because they're 10 times better than us. So.
Yeah, that's a good one.
2-2 penalties.
We just keep taking penalties forever, or does someone eventually win?
Oh, the penalties. How many do you have to take before you win? 3-0. 3-0 Spurs. In pens.
Come on.
Oh, do you take pens? Okay, sorry. 4-1.
I don't think so. I don't think 4 on the pens because your goalkeeper can barely really get down. So I don't think he'll do too great in the pen. If we're being
2 in match of the round as well.
if we're being realistic, look.
Thanks for giving who took the 2 pens?
Look,
Thanks for giving 2 shots at him.
yeah, you saw it there. You saw it there.
Don't jump in on Matty
The keeper couldn't really.
Are we flying Omid back for the game, or
Pardon?
are we flying Omid back for the game, or he's out?
Oh,
I should pay attention to what's going
You
on.
got to pay attention, mate.
Do you guys have a scoreline?
yeah, look, I'm saying if we're getting, even giving them a goal is generous. But, again, in the light of football, don't know how it is. So, we'll say probably, I'll say a good 4-1. A good 4-1, just give them, a gracious goal. Why not just to sort of show them there's still some sort of hope. But, yeah, we'll say 4-1. Our way, obviously.
So Brooker's basically gonna score the whole 4 chances he gets.
What about the other 6?
And that's watching him play last time, it's probably not going to happen. So if he gets 4 chances and only him, it could be nil for them. But Ryan will probably take one of his 17.
Okay, we're in for a show that's going to reach new heights, penalties and 17 goals in a game. I look forward to it. We're going to cut it there, and thanks both very much for nearly staying out till 11 o'clock to give us some content. That was quite the enjoyable experience, and I wish you guys both the best of luck heading into what's going to be a firecracker weekend of football. Thank you, boys.
Thanks, boys.
Oh my word! And now played and struck and in further forward now, Tagura! Ryan Dominici wants a second goal. Isabel Webb should have a second goal and finishes with ease.